Get started. This is going on YouTube.
Probably. Most likely.
Yeah.
Yeah, so, like I typically do, I like to try and open if anybody has any thoughts or any questions or anything that they've come across in the last week or last time we've met or revelations, anything.
Just the pyramid.
Okay, good enough.
I do. Are you in practice? No. It's okay.
It's not.
It's a little more to get into.
So that's why I was like, I need to come to this meeting. That way I can
Good.
start moving.
Perfect. Yeah, that's perfect. You made the right choice. You made a choice, right? So choosing is everything because none of this is mandatory, right? We choose to meditate. We choose to come here. I don't force you. Nobody's forcing you but yourself. And that's step one. That's a power. That's gaining ground. So, especially in the beginning, don't get down on yourself for not doing it, or don't get. And as a matter of fact, even as you progress, don't get down on yourself for not doing it. I definitely don't. I'm not going to lie and say I practice every day. I try to do something. I try to integrate it in my life somehow, some way. But realistically, I don't always. I want to esteem at that. I want to try and be better. I don't want to stagnate. But it's like going to the gym. If all you do is make those little steps and those little progressions, even if it's the once a day, or then you up it up to, once a week, and then you up it up, and then you up it. It's a little snowball. So,
I have a victory to share. It feels particularly good coming out of kind of a rough summer. So, I keep track of my daily practices, morning and night, and then monthly workouts, exercise.
is that clear?
Oh, that is clear. And this past month, I was in the 75%. I did it every day, 75% of the time, which is really good because in the summer I was getting 30%, failing grades, if you will. And my workouts, I got a perfect 100% this month. I think that's the first time that's ever happened in my whole life.
And you've been doing a 40-day yoga thing, right?
Yeah, that helped.
But you've been doing it.
Yeah. I just came from there. So, yeah.
She's clapping for you.
Okay. Hey, Claire, thanks. Appreciate you. Yeah, so it helps. And I do feel different, energetically speaking. Yeah.
Do you feel more calm?
For sure. I could feel it on my skin and everything. The air blowing actually, it's pleasant. Whereas before it might be irritating. I don't know. I could feel stuff like that. Y'all get that? Or stuff irritates you?
I would just say I'm more aware of it
Right.
being there versus before I was ever practicing.
Right.
So
Yeah, well, you're building awareness.
Right.
I mean, that is this practice, is the practice of being aware, being more aware. And so, again, back to if you can integrate it into your life, the little things of kind of just pausing and feeling the breeze, right? I mean, pausing and admiring the scenery. Even if it's not much of a scenery to admire, it certainly is in the cosmic sense that it's anything at all, right? And so it's anything can be absolutely magnificent if you make it that way. But it takes awareness. It takes awareness to be still and reflect and immerse yourself. So, yeah, the more you do it, the more it becomes second nature to you. The more it is part of your life, and the more you take the pause and notice how you're feeling, and actually have a reaction to it, and let yourself flow into it and roll with it.
Right. And just not looking to sleep. You know, that phone time, you know, before you sleep.
Yeah, and you mentioned phone time recently to me as well, right? You were talking about looking at your screen time hours or something?
Yeah, it was just like ridiculous. I'm like, what the heck? I mean, a lot of it's for work, but then some of it's just like, yeah, this is not work. I could definitely do without that. So, yeah, just becoming more aware of that type of stuff. It's definitely helped me out a lot. Yeah, kind of realized like, wow, I really spiraled out of control for a while. So I don't know how the heck that happened. But
Yeah, well, it's usually a slow drag back into the claws of
yeah,
the machine, and then that's how it happens. It's that, like it's exactly what you said.
yeah,
Spirals. It's because it goes both ways, right? It's like compound effect works both ways. It can work in your favor, it can work against you. It's like you let the little things slip up, and they turn into the bigger things, or you do little things progressively, and they turn into bigger things too. Um, it's the slow, and it happens to all of us. It happens to all of us at multiple points in your own progression. Where have I been? You know, what have I been doing? You know, you lose yourself, and at the very least, you always come back, or you try to come back, hopefully. And I don't mean come back here. I mean come back to your spirituality, to your practice, to what's important to you, and hopefully you have the wherewithal to catch yourself. And that's, again, part of the meditation that we practice is the practice of catching yourself. The practice of catching yourself, letting yourself drift off into your thoughts or drift off into, say, the work or the social or whatever it is that is your distraction. It's coming back to the touch, coming back to the touch. Well, it's also coming back to your practice, coming back to your practice. And you notice in the meditation that you're distracted and you come back. It's the same thing in life. You can notice in life that you've been distracted, that you've been lost, and you can make the choice to come back. It doesn't matter how long you've strayed or how long you feel like you've not been in it or whatever it is, you still came back, and that's the most important thing. And even if it's 5 minutes starting off or 10 minutes or whatever it is, you came back. And that's the most important thing. So, yeah. You got something, Claire?
Yes.
The floor is
Can
yours.
you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. I know that you had mentioned, I think that you had said before that, like, if you kind of go off of meditating for a while and then you, like, come back, like, you don't, like, lose any, like, progress. Like, you are, like, where you had left off at, right?
Yeah, I'd say that's accurate.
Yeah. That always, like, makes me feel comforted because the idea of, like, starting something from the beginning, you know, like, is, like, really, like it is good to learn more about the beginning again, but, like, it's can be a little bit overwhelming, you know. Sometimes, like, I get in that mindset if I haven't meditated in a while. I'm like, oh, can I even get into the groove of it again, you know? But usually it works out pretty well once I, like, you just have to, like, start it, and then you're like, you know, that, like, feeling that, like, really good, like, this is nice.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I would definitely say that your progression is, you're there, right? So you're not necessarily going to start back at square one. Maybe you're a little bit down here, but only because you're not practicing, not so much because you don't have the knowledge base or your consciousness isn't, you know, at that same kind of a level. It's still there. And aside from that, I would also say that in your subconscious, you're making progress when you don't realize you're making progress, because your subconscious is processing this data, it's integrating it into your life, and it is making connections on its own without you really having to think about it. So when you're reflecting, when you're learning new information, when you're doing practices, your consciousness is progressing and continuously moving in a forward direction. So all of those things are are enhancing you and progressing you. So again, it's not that that's necessarily something that you should let stop you or make you as a false sense of comfort that you don't need to practice or anything like that.
Yeah, yeah.
But you're constantly moving forward. Even if it doesn't feel like it, because that can be another trap. You can be meditating every single day, twice a day, and get to a point where, let's say you're like 15, 20 days in, and you don't feel like you're progressing at all. You might just feel like your meditations are just almost like nothingness or whatever. And that can be the most important time to keep pushing forward. It's kind of like moving through outer space. You would get to a point that you're not seeing any stars anymore, and you would have to kind of trust that you're making forward motion, even though it may not feel like you are. And then the horizon will be coming, and it usually comes when you push past your own feeling of what am I doing, or your own feeling of this isn't working, and then you're just like, well, I'm just going to keep doing it, and just, all right, whatever happens, happens, and then it's like, boom, you get that next kind of threshold, or you meet that next level of, whoa, what the hell's going on here? Yeah. So, thanks for that. Okay, so the topic that I had in mind for tonight was energy movements, and hopefully give y'all some technique stuff to practice with and hopefully have some experience with. I know I've done energy movements with some of you guys, obviously not all of you, and Leandra brought up a question about the pyramid, so I'm going to go into some pyramid and sword and energy movements, and we'll see how it goes. Just put my phone over here. So, to start off, let's kind of do a little brief recap of energy and how it works in your life, how you are affected by it, and how you can have an effect on it. So, the energy that everyone around us in our lives has a projection to it. It's their thoughts, it's their consciousness. Their thoughts are energy, and they are constantly projecting out and taking. And so when somebody thinks on you, they are thinking on your consciousness, and they're pulling on it, or they're trying to get info from you, or they're maybe not even trying to get info from you, but they're making a mental connection to you. And that is a form of energy. That's a form of connecting with somebody's energy. And if they're thinking on you and they're wanting on you, or they're wanting some response from you, it can be a drain on your consciousness. It can cause you to feel sluggish, or it can cause you to feel depressed, or it can cause you to feel any number of different things. And so in that form, there's also you as the person that can project energy, or you that the person that's also doing this action. So it's not just that people are doing this to you. It's also to be aware that you're doing this to other people, that you have an influence on people, that you have desires and you have wants and you have things that you want to more or less manipulate out of people or get for your own gain. And so it's to be aware that you are doing that, and to be mindful that that can have an effect. And just by being mindful and us having this conversation, it's kind of enough for you to mentally be able to put yourself in check when you are, say, getting mad at somebody, or you're mad at a situation, and you're thinking on them and maybe wanting hurtful things to happen or whatever. Because of this conversation, you're going to put yourself in kind of a check, and you're going to kind of cut that off mentally. You don't have to necessarily do that action, but you're going to have a mental trigger that says, let's stop thinking about this, or now let's put this to the side. Um, in another regard, you also can program your energy around you for having an effect. So that was, we were talking about energy defense being the pyramid or the sword, and those two actions are more protective measures for you. So what you're doing is you're utilizing your intention to protect yourself. So with the sword, you're utilizing visualization as a technique and the feeling of actually using your energy to pull it through your hands like the hilt of a sword, or like you're moving it up as a sword. And you're feeling how it feels that there's these cords all around you that are connecting. So like we were talking about, when I'm thinking on you or you or you or you or whoever, it builds a connection. And all of these connections are kind of psychic webbing or collective consciousness webbing. And it can be the town, it can be the school, it can be work, it can be any of these things. They have their bubbles that have webbings to you, then people have webbings to you, and that can be in the form of who you are to them. So it's like you're always the boyfriend or the girlfriend, or you're always this, the quiet worker, or you're always whoever it is that they have in mind for you. That's another form of webbing that they draw out of you. So it's like when we interact, I have a version of you in my head, and you have a version of you in your head that you bring out when you interact with me. And it's a different version than when you're with like your close friends. It's a different version than when you're with family. And it's a different version than when you're with coworkers. And so all of them have their mental influence on you, and you want to kind of cut all of that off of you so that you're more free to make your own conscious choices. Because if it's other people that are influencing you, making you feel a certain way, making you feel a certain way about them or about a situation or whatever else have you, it's not your own true consciousness that you're working with. And it's bad enough that we have our own internal consciousness to deal with that has an effect on us and our decisions and everything else, much less everybody else that has their consciousness heavy on us. So the cords is psychological more so than you have to worry about, am I building a sword with my energy, and is there really cords around me, and this, that, and the other. All that visualization helps you mentally project the feeling of this technique and what it is doing, and the energy receives that programming and reacts to it because of how it is perceived in your mind. So it's, especially because you're working with your energy, it is going to reflect what your goal is for the particular technique. So when you're feeling, say, these vines on you, it's like weighing you down, that's holding you down, holding you back, then you're visualizing it and feeling the emotion of the sharpest sword that you can imagine, and you are physically bringing your hands around slowly and visualizing that you're piercing through the cord or through the vine, and it's moving through and popping out the other side, and you're coming back through and you're coming around, and you're emoting it while you're visualizing it, and you're feeling that feeling of them just snapping off, just releasing off of you. All these ties that are binding you down are just like releasing, and you're becoming lighter and lighter and lighter. So you only want to spend maybe 30 seconds to a couple minutes on this. It doesn't have to be, you don't want to make it too long. It's better that it's intentional and emotional, and that you're putting your all into those 30 seconds to a minute versus trying to extend it out to 5 minutes or something like that. You don't necessarily need to. So are y'all kind of clear on the cord cutting? Any thoughts on that or questions about that? Okay. So the pyramid is another technique, and again, what we're doing is you're utilizing prana. You're also utilizing your energy. You're learning how to work with your energy, how to manipulate it, how to program it in a sense with your intentions for it to have an effect. And so the pyramid is another technique that you're basically going to, again, and I'll walk y'all through this for the first few times, but you're going to want to visualize like a thin thread that is going down your core of your body, your causal energy. And it's going down through like your butt and up through your head, like a couple feet up above your head and a couple feet actually down below your feet, even into the ground. And so that's like your first point, your middle pillar of your energy that you're going to be working with. And then as you breathe in prana energy, you're breathing in the prana, you're then visualizing that it's kind of expanding internally in you, growing brighter. And you keep breathing in prana, and you're allowing it to move through your inner skin to the outer layer of your skin so that your entire body is glowing and bright and vibrant. Essentially what you're doing is with your intention is that you're pushing any kind of other negative energies out of you, and then you're then letting it expand outside of your skin, outside of your body, and you start visualizing this pyramid. And so you're kind of building the walls, you're building the four walls around you and the floor beneath you, below your feet. And again, your intention is that it's a protective pyramid that will go with you anywhere, that will expand with you and contract with you as you go through your life, and that the walls of it are kind of like impenetrable steel, or just the strongest thing that you can kind of imagine, and that nothing negative can penetrate it, that you're absolutely protected. And so with this one, it should be good for about 3 to 5 days. That's about kind of the rotation that you want to do it in, or not the rotation, but how often you kind of want to do it.
You can't just do it every day just so you don't forget.
You absolutely can.
Okay.
Again, with some of this stuff, it's a lot about the intention and the feelings and the emotions that you put into it, and you want to make it as powerful as possible in a small amount of time. And so you also don't want to make it routine in the sense that
Like
you're just going through
the
the motions.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
It's not draining to have that protection
And excuse me. So another way you could look at it is you could look at it as like a filter, and that it will everything that will come at you will only filter through as positive. So instead of it even blocking the energy, you could say that you're actually getting more positive energy. You're getting more positive vibrations. Yeah. And so as you're going through it, again, it's you end it by invoking the feeling of love and positive energy, and then you kind of want to just seal it with just pushing that love energy, that love vibe into your pyramid, and sealing it off like that. So that's basically the pyramid. Excuse me.
So, eating too much red meat, or you start cutting back.
I guess so. I'm cutting back a little bit. I'm gonna have to for yoga.
Right.
So
That's mucus building.
is it?
Yeah, I stopped eating red meat actually completely.
That's good.
Well, just like during this
Yesterday.
month. Yeah. So that might be part of. I don't know.
Any thoughts, you guys, on camera, or any questions, or I don't know, anything? Okay. We'll keep going then. So, any thoughts from you? All right. So, when we do energy movements, I'll go ahead and jump into that. You want to relax yourself, immerse yourself in the now. This is another awareness building technique, and you're really starting to learn about your personal energy, how it kind of works in your body, and how you can start to manipulate it and move it through your body or move it through your environment. And it's also a type of cord cutting in a way. It's not quite a cord cutting, but by working with your energy, it's probably one of the first times that you're actually doing this. And so you're letting all this stagnant energy start to move and start to move around. And so it's not stagnant anymore. And the more that you can do that, the more that you start to be able to do things with your energy. And also the better you're going to feel, because again, you're kind of, it's like cleaning off the table. It feels much better when there's nothing on it. But if you just let it stagnate and let it grow and not do anything with it, well, it starts to build all this gunk and this, that, and the other, and it's not so free flowing. So by doing energy movements, you're releasing yourself of some of this kind of gunk. So you want to use your breath, and you want to use your mind and your awareness to kind of move through your body. And so we did this kind of the other day, so we're going to kind of start with this. So everybody take a deep breath in and out. You don't have to close your eyes or anything like that. You can if you like. But let's just start to build our awareness right here, right now. Feel how you're feeling. Feel how your body feels. Feel the room. Feel your chair. Feel the clothes on your skin. Just take a few deep breaths in and out, letting yourself relax. Relaxing your shoulders, relaxing your legs. Just notice how you feel. Where's your mind at? First time you thought about your body today, really thought about it, felt the clothing on your skin, felt the temperature of the air around your ears. Just feel what you're feeling. Breathing in prana. So to start out, I'm just going to have us kind of move through our body. So I want you to think about your thighs, your left thigh. Feel how it feels. How does the clothing on your thigh feel? How does the thickness of it feel? And I want you to move to your left kneecap. How does it feel different than your thigh muscle? Does it feel harder? Does it feel more hollow? Does it feel, how does it feel to you? Just noticing. And then moving slowly down through your shins, seeing how much you can notice of your shin bone. Slowly moving down, moving into your ankles. Moving into your feet, down to the heel, slowly moving up through your foot, the meaty part of your foot, to your toes, and noticing how your toes feel. Seeing if you can notice your pinky toe. How does it feel in comparison to your big toe? And what I want you to do in your big toe, I want you to visualize, you can do this eyes closed or open, but I want you to visualize a warm, white, or yellow light, a ball of light. And I want you to try to feel the warmth. And even if you can't feel it, fake it. Invent it in your mind. Make it as real how does a warm toe feel? Maybe how does it feel to dip that toe in the bathtub? Just to get a sense started. And slowly, I want you to move that ball through your feet, through your foot, moving up through the meaty part to your heel, and noticing again how your heel feels with this warm white light, this soothing white light. And let's go ahead and move back and forth slowly at your own pace. Still breathing, still relaxed. Slowly moving back and forth. And then when you get to your heel, just to start moving back up through your leg, through the calf muscles, through your shin bones, feeling this soothing, warm white light move all the way up through you, through all your tendons and through the bone marrow, up through to your kneecap. Feeling this warm white light on your kneecap, in your kneecap. And then going back down through your legs, through your shins, through your calf, and down into your ankle. And then coming back up at your own pace. Slowly, just feeling this warm white light move through your legs, back and forth. Back and forth. And once you get to your knee again, let's go ahead and start to pull it through your thighs, visualizing, feeling it, emoting it, letting it move through your thigh muscles, through the bones in your thigh, all the way up to your hip area. And then going back down through your thighs, back up to your knee, and back all through that thickness in your thighs, the veins, the tissues, the soothing, healing white light. Just moving back and forth. And then coming up into your stomach area, in the middle of your stomach area, or your belly button area, your chi chakra. See if you can feel your chi chakra. Bring your consciousness there. Feeling this warm white light, this little bit of heat. Slowly letting it move up through your stomach area, up into your chest area, through your heart chakra, and back down into your chi chakra, moving through all your organs, all the blood vessels, every cell that it passes through feels this warm white light, moving back and forth, and getting up to your chest again, letting it move up into your throat, through the bones, through the muscles, up into the back of the throat, where your mouth starts, moving up through your face, through your bones in your face, through your brain, to the crown, letting it all relax as this warm light passes through, and going back down through your crown, through your brain stem, through your spinal cord, back down through your shoulders into your chest, a soothing, warm white light, back and forth. Y'all able to get a little bit of sensation with that? So, okay, cool. So,
I never felt the. It was a little hard for me to feel the warmth on my lower, but the upper I started actually.
good. And it's
Just a little bit.
it's probably going to be difficult in different areas, and you know it's something to work towards and
Right.
play with. You sound like you were going to say something.
No, I agree with him. I thought it was stronger once we went through the chakras.
And you know that's actually really good. Just the fact that y'all noticed that, right? I mean, you notice the difference. That's your awareness building. You can tell that there's something there, right? So it's like you work on that very subtle, and you build on it. You build on it from there, and build on it from there. So where we're going to go next is I want us to work on our hands, and on our arms, and so we're going to start to basically, I want you to hold your hand out in front of you. Again, relax. Chi-chi, come on. Actually, y'all don't have to stop.
As soon as you looked at me, I saw her head poke out. I was like, oh really? When you were like this, and she like this.
Oh.
Okay, so what I want you to do is start to build a connection with your hand. So you're bringing your mental consciousness there, your awareness to your hand, and just feel how it feels. You can look at your palm or the top of your hand. I would suggest kind of just looking at both and noticing a difference, seeing if you notice any kind of a difference. Just getting a sense for how it kind of feels. How your fingers feel. How do the tendons feel that run through your hand and run into your forearm? How does that feel? Kind of noticing that as you move and wiggle your fingers, is it your fingers moving or is it your brain moving? What is it that's doing? And you don't really have to think move your middle finger, you just know to move your middle finger if you want to. And it feels different than moving your right finger, your index finger. It feels different than moving your pinky finger. But how different does it really feel in your mind? Can you notice a difference? Where do you feel it? The other interesting thing about the hands too is it's very puppeteer-like. That you have these tendons that go all the way up through your arms to your shoulders that connect to your brain. And really, it's the brain that's squeezing your spinal cord to make your fingers move. And this is just an interesting thing to think about and to reflect on. And I'd say reflect on it more and more and more as you go, and it'll have different effects for you. So again, feeling your hand. I want you to feel the palm, the middle, very center of your palm. How does that feel? It feels different than your thumb, right? It feels different than your middle finger. It feels different than your pinky finger. And then coming into the middle again. And then I want you to flip your hand over and I want you to feel the top of your hand. Notice the subtle shift. Can you all kind of feel that? It feels a little bit different. It's not quite as active, most likely, because your palm is what you typically use. So again, still focusing on the middle of your hand, but on the palm side. And then flip it back again. Again, noticing any subtle shifts in your chest. You're kind of paying attention to how your chest feels or how your body feels, how you're reacting to this. So, as you feel the middle of your palm, now what I want you to do is I want you to take your other hand, and you can use 2 fingers or 1, I prefer to use 2, or you can use your whole hand even. I want you to slowly, consciously, so all this you have to do consciously. You don't just want to do it flippantly, because if you do it flippantly, it's not going to work right. So you consciously, slowly come closer to the middle of your palm. See if you notice anything. See if you notice anything at all. Maybe it's very subtle or whatever it may be. You can move it away, see if you notice any difference. Move it back. Move it away, move it back. And then when you kind of get a little something subtle or you notice a good little sweet spot for you, what I want you to do is the same thing that we did earlier, but I want you to match your fingers with it now. So you're matching your fingers and your consciousness to move through your hand. So you're moving your conscious awareness up through your palm knuckle area, through the lower digit here, the middle digit, and the tip of this index finger. And then I want you to move down through the finger back to the middle of the palm. And then going from the middle of the palm up through your middle finger, and back down, down through your ring finger, back down, up through your pinky, and back into the palm. And I want you to flip your hand over again and do the same thing. Feel the top of your hand with your other fingers. Noticing if you feel anything different, if you feel it in any kind of different way. And then at your own pace, kind of going up through each finger and noticing how the tops of your fingers feel. You should feel a slight difference than the inside of your fingers. So again, you're matching your consciousness, your conscious awareness that's able to kind of move through your body with your fingers. And then when you're ready, you can go ahead and take it from the top of your hand, through your wrist, up through your forearms, into your elbow, and come back down. So again, it's good to kind of match your breath with it as well. So you may notice some heat. I'm definitely getting some heat right now. Or you may notice just a subtle feeling moving through. You can do that inside of your palm and wrist area again and notice if there's any subtle difference in feeling. If you feel it moving through your tendons, just through the meaty part of your arm. So are y'all getting some kind of sensation?
Yeah.
Snow, breeze,
That felt
warmth? Perfect. So that's excellent. Feeling a starting point. And that's energy movements. That's people try to do that for forever. You don't. So that's wonderful. What were you gonna say? The heat. The heat. So good. Good. So you got to think this is first time, 10 minutes in trying it. So the more you work with it, again, it's like that should be your starting point of, okay, there's something there and I can build on it. I mean, if there's something there now, how much will it be if I do this for 5 minutes a day for the next month? So it's something to play with. You can also do your hands hand to hand, and so kind of get a sense of both of your hands. Again, kind of relaxing it because I was talking, but take a deep breath in and out. So noticing your two palms together. want you to start to feel the space in between your hands. Let that be where your consciousness is. Just feeling that space. You can kind of move your hands a little bit, kind of go like this. That's what I like to do. And then what I want you to do is to expand your consciousness, almost like you have an inflatable ball that's inflating in between your hands as you breathe in. So you, at the end of your breath, kind of stop and then see if you notice that kind of push back and you're kind of condensing it. Stop again. Noticing, kind of move your hands a little bit back and forth, seeing if you can kind of feel a thickness in between them. Again, breathing in. Little halves and see how it feels. Go to full amount. Just something to play with. Big, go, however you want to do it. And so is everyone able to get some kind of sensation? Any of that? A little more difficult.
This one's actually easier for me.
Easier.
Same.
Easier for you too?
Yeah.
Okay, interesting. Why do you think, what made it a little easier for you, do you think? How did it feel? You could feel it a lot stronger?
It's hard to describe, but I felt it, like, it was stronger.
I personally feel that my hands probably have the most energy going out of it. So it's like two energy centers. Just
Yeah,
makes it,
absolutely.
yeah, because I noticed like when I was doing here, it's like okay, this one was a little colder.
Right.
Side.
Well, your palms are
They are yeah.
they're your everything. They're your
Yeah.
like little satellites that are getting info from everywhere. So you're picking up on stuff all the time through your palms.
You know, actually, they I'm pretty sure you know this, but you know, in like the Zen tradition, whenever you do prayer, you know, I mean, every spiritual tradition does prayer hands, right? But they specifically say it's like, oh, because you're connecting the energy circuits. Because here they're always out. That's why they say like, if you're receiving something, you're like this, but if you want to reconnect it and circulate within yourself, you do this. Just keeps on going.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
You didn't know that?
I don't think I knew that either.
Oh, really?
I don't think I've heard that before.
Yeah, they do.
That's a good one. I like it. Okay, so it was a little bit more difficult for you, but again, it's a practice thing. So we'll work more with it and refine it, get it to where you're like, what?
Like, have you even ever heard of like qigong or anything like that? Qigong.
That word itself, like,
The word sounds
spell
familiar.
something.
Tai Chi. You've heard of Tai Chi, right? Yeah. Qigong, they say, is the mother of all martial arts. It's like, it's really like basic energy movement. You've seen Qigong people do it, yeah. It's like very basic. But all martial arts comes from that. That's how they know. Like, manipulate other people's energy, and then they use it to, knock them over and stuff like that.
They have Tai Chi classes at Discovery Green.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I
Yes.
saw that today.
So if you go to the Tai Chi now, you can match your consciousness with the movements, and you have that layer that you can add onto it and have better effects. Maybe not better. I don't know what they teach. I shouldn't say that. But
Who's teaching the Tai Chi? Was it black guy?
I don't know. It's supposed to be Fridays.
Oh, every Friday. Okay. Okay, gotcha.
okay, so I'm gonna have us stand up, and y'all on TV, y'all can do on screen, y'all can do what you want. We're gonna do some, depending on your situation, we're gonna do moving through the body now. So,
Get a circle.
yeah, well, over here. Okay, so again, relaxing, breath in, out. Feeling your body, noticing where you're at. So you always want to come to your awareness first. And what we're going to do, and I'll kind of walk through it first, we're going to do prana pull-ups. So you're pulling the energy up through your body. And it's almost going to feel like it's kind of trailing behind your hand. So it kind of feels like a string with a ball attached almost. So that it's like you're... So you're not necessarily looking for the feeling right specifically where your fingers are. It's almost like it's moving like this. And so I would even suggest just touching your actual skin to get a sensation for the first few times. So you're wanting to match your breath with your up and your breath with your down. And you match your consciousness action moving through your body. So again, I would say just taking your two fingers, just let it actually touch your actual skin, and so as you do your breathing as well, you want your breathing to be not forceful but intentional and with some strength behind it. So you're you can also use two hands if you like, if you prefer. You can. So keep going at your own pace. I'm going to kind of keep talking. So your hands kind of serve as a guide, but it's a lot more about your mind and your consciousness moving through your body. Your hands kind of serve as just a reference point, where your energy actually already matches your hands because it is tied into your body. So it's going to be a reflection of your thoughts and what you want to have happen. So you're all able to get any kind of sensation on that one? A little more difficult, a little easier, different.
I definitely feel warm. I feel like it's partially coming from my hands.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, that's the energy, right? So.
Mm-hmm.
Different and more difficult for me.
Okay. You too?
It's a little, it is a little hard, but I felt like towards the end I started to feel it more. Like once I kind of like closed my eyes and just really tried to envision.
I think
Good.
the 2 hands was more powerful than the 1 hand.
I get more out of the 2 hands personally. I do that a lot more. I mean, honestly, it still sounds good to me because this is a first go. So if you're starting to get something at the end, that means it's just something you need to keep working with and keep practicing. I mean, honestly, it doesn't have to be much. Just set a timer for 5 minutes, and you can move through whichever ones that you liked, whichever ones spoke to you the most, or that you got the most feeling out of, and let that be your starting point. I'm trying to give you all kind of a little bit of a variation so that you can have at least a place to start working from. So if you like the hands one, work on that a lot more, and then move it through like we did the arms, and then try for the body. Or if you like, whichever part you liked, work with that. Just set a timer for 5 minutes a day, and play with it. Hopefully you can do 5 minutes a day, or do it when you can. But I would say, give it a solid like 2 weeks of 5 minutes a day, and I bet you're going to notice a huge, dramatic difference in your relationship to it, in your relationship to your energy. You're going to be more aware. You're going to have more of an effect and experience.
Have y'all seen like some videos? They have like these old school, even new school dance videos where these dancers they'll overlay an animation of like an energy ball going through the dancers. I think it's a good example of
It's a good visual.
basically what dancers are trying to do, and then they like pass it off to someone and they catch it.
Yeah.
It's pretty much the same thing. Help with that.
But actually, what you brought up a really good point in my mind, which is, we worked on. I don't think I worked on it with you, but I know we were working on it the other week with visualizing or visualization, adding visualization to your techniques. And so, what you can do for energy movements is pretty similar to what you're talking about, but instead of the balls, or if you like, Dragon Ball Z, or because that's what I like to use, or any other variation of those types of things. In your closed eyes visuals, put yourself into your temple, into your sacred space, and it's your imagination, so you can make yourself do whatever you want. So really visualize in your imagination and feel it with as much emotion as you can. Energy ball moving through you, and you can see the light, and you can feel the warmth of it and the strength of it, and then match that on this reality and see what happens, see how that works for you. You should notice an increase in your effect because your mind is very receptive to what you're thinking. Again, if you think about something, if you think about a fight that you had with like a boyfriend, girlfriend, you can get really heated right now. You can get really tense. Your body starts to sweat. You start to really relive it, and then you're like, shit, what am I doing, kind of thing. So you can use that to your advantage. You're using this now to develop your skill or to enhance your skill. And so, and then in truth, you're actually doing it in 2 realities, because you're doing it in kind of the mental plane, and then you're doing it in the physical plane. So that's something to play with, something to try. Any other thoughts from you guys over there? How's it been for y'all? Any, I don't even know who's there.
Claire and let's
Yeah, they may just give us
step up.
Yeah, that's okay. Anything to add, Andrew?
Just, no, but I have been practicing energy movements myself. Reiki a lot has to do with energy movements, but also just practicing on myself, like just sending energy to like a bruise or something, it seems to heal faster, or whatnot. And just overall, I use energy movements quite a bit.
Right on.
Hey, sorry, I ran to the bathroom, that's why I wasn't here.
Oh,
I
that's
was
okay.
listening still. I feel like I haven't been doing energy movements quite as much as I've been doing pranayama. I've been doing a lot of like breath work lately, and that's been really helping me because I sit all the time. I should be doing energy movements because I'm always sitting for class, but like during class, it's really easy to just kind of do like some cleansing breath and like just focus on the breath and like. So in a way, that's kind of like building up my energy because if not, I'll notice I'm just like not breathing, you know. And then once you invite the breath back in, you are able to. I just feel like I'm able to receive information better. So I've been doing that a lot, but I do know whenever I move my body, I feel better.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Well, that's good. That's good. You're integrating it into your life still, into your work life and personal life, as
Yeah.
much as you can. So, I mean, that's definitely a positive.
Yeah, I've been doing some Tai Chi up in my office over here myself, and
Yeah.
Nice.
getting sway on.
Yeah. How are you doing over there, Yulitsa?
Come on.
I don't know.
Oh, she's there.
There we go. Sorry, I'm moving. With my camera on. It was off. With my phone.
That's
But
good.
I was following along. Movement, all of the
Feeling the energy? Good. Cool. Okay, where are we at on time? What time is it? 9:41. Okay. So is there anything else that you guys would like to get into, like to ask about? Any questions about any of this? Anything else? Anything at all?
Lily and I, we were at this yoga class on Thursday, and they had this community circle afterwards. And for some of the, like everyone went and like shared something about themselves, and some people who were, I guess, were struggling, they were like, "Oh, let's just send some love into that," you know, this energy movement.
Yeah, absolutely.
So,
Ohms as well can be a good projection of energy. And I'd like to get all of us in a group. We did this in California where we were all in a circle and we had one person in the middle and we all projected ohms onto them.
Wow.
And,
that's pretty cool. It's like,
yeah, it was really intense. I'd like to get, next time we have a big group, I think that would be really interesting to do together.
We also did this home where everyone was just like holding each other. And like right now everyone home, so you could like literally feel the vibration.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It felt very strong.
Yeah.
Yeah, the ohms is always a good one. So, okay, well, I'll send y'all a playlist if y'all want, and then we're gonna just go ahead and hop into meditation over here. So, gonna sign off, you guys. So, thanks for joining.
Thank you, Alex.
Yeah.
Bye, Claire.